Hi, fellow traders. What's happening? It is the Monday after Sure Trader, and everything is fine. There is no, I know there's still a lot of uneasiness, unrest out there, but hey, everything's going to be fine. It's time, everything, happens for a reason, and, time heals all wounds, and we're just going to keep moving forward. Now, if we keep looking back, we'll never get anywhere. So we're just going to keep on moving. And one of the big issues that I see that I deal with a lot of traders is the issue of time. A lot of guys are worrying about how long is it going to take me to get my money back? How long, at least these guys just didn't disappear and shut down, and you have no avenue of attempting to get it back. At least everything is up and running. You got people there helping you. And I decided that I've already opted out one account. The account that I had for my son, I am going to leave. I'm going to leave that there. I want to see what this F1 thing is about. It's not a whole lot of money in there, so I'm just going to let that one transfer over, just so I'll know. I'm curious. I want to see what it's about. I want to see if it is what I think it is. So kind of like it, just out of curiosity. But as far as me, I am going to start another small account, because most of you guys I'm teaching are trading in a small account. Most of you guys can't meet PDT rule. Even if you can meet the PDT rule and you're trying to learn how to trade, you have to start small. You have to learn how to trade small position sizes. So I want to make sure that I'm there with you, and I'm going through the same process that you're going through. This is not a challenge. A lot of people ask me, are you still going to do the small account challenge? This is not a damn challenge. This is real life, guys. When people talk to you about or say they're doing a challenge, they're playing a freaking game, and they're disrespecting this industry. This is not a game. This is not a challenge. This is real life. We're dealing with real money. We're dealing with real people's hopes and dreams. And I don't take that lightly, and neither should you. So I just don't believe in challenges. I don't believe in games. And I believe in being real. And that's not a popular position. 90% of what I do is not a popular position, because I'm about business. And that's what it is. So I am going to do that. I'm really looking at having everything in place by the first of the year. I'm not trying to rush anything. This thing with time, everything is about time. I'm not rushing it. Okay, and this is what gets a lot of people in trouble. You stop and you start watching the clock and you start worrying about the time ticking. Guess what? Time's continuing to move. You need to be doing the same thing. You need to be moving. And as long as you're moving and you're working, it doesn't matter how long it takes. Your time is going to come. Now, I don't know if you guys are familiar with tennis or not, but Nick Bollettieri, he had this big tennis academy down in Florida before IMG bought it out and kind of squeezed him out. But he was really big on the tennis scene in the 90s, I'd say the 90s or whatever. And Andre Agassi was like his premier pupil. And he was like a superstar back then. He was like it. But it was a long time before he started actually winning tournaments of winning the majors. And that was a big scar on him. He was like the rock star that can't win the big one. And one day he had lost, and Nick Bollettieri found him on the court, and he was snapping his rackets in half. And he went over and asked, what's going on? What's wrong? And he's like, I'm not gonna make it. I just don't have it. I'm run out of time. I just don't have it. And Nick Bollettieri said, look on my wrist. Do you see a watch on there? He said, nobody's on a timetable here. He said, your time will come. You just have to keep moving. You can't stop and think about all of this. You got to keep moving. And that's what we have to do in trading. It's not going to happen as soon as we want it to, but take your time, learn what you need to learn, and grow. I mean, it's all about growing in steps, making this progression, and it's going to happen. Just don't stop and start worrying about how much time you spent and watching the time continue to go. You just need to keep moving, and let's keep up with it. All right, so let's take a look at today. Now I'm going to go over some of the stocks we had on our watch list, but bear with me for a second. I'm going to give you an analogy because I get a lot of questions about my scanning process and all of this stuff, but I'm going to use a football analogy. Okay, I know a football americano. All right, so you have the quarterback, and it's the quarterback's job when he comes up to the ball to scan the defense and look at what defense the opposition is in and call a play based on that defense. And in his mind, he knows where his receivers are going to be, and he knows where the likely openings are going to be. So when they hike the ball, he's scanning. Now he's got his favorite player, his favorite target, the one target he thinks is going to be the best opportunity, and he'll scan that. And if it's there, he's going to hit it. Or if it's not there, if it's all bottled up, he's going to go to the next receiver and then the next one. He's just going to check down until he finds a receiver that's open, or if not, he's just going to throw the ball away. No harm, no foul. He didn't turn it over. He didn't do anything, or he may tuck it and run with it and get a couple yards. All right, so as a trader, we're like that quarterback. When we come into the market, we're surveying the market like the quarterback surveys the defense. We're looking to see what opportunities this market looks like it's going to give us. Is it up? Is it down? Is it volatile? Are we seeing a lot of volume in the market? Was there a catalyst going on? We're surveying this. All right. And so based on that, we're going to scan, our market. We're going to try to find stocks to fit our game plan. So based on that market, we're looking for the opening range. So let's say we're looking for the opening range trades. That's my number one play. And so the market is set up for some good opening range trades. And I go out and I've got my favorite stocks that I picked out, that I scanned. They're my receivers. All right, so the market opens and I've got my number one watch, the one that I want to really trade, that I think is going to give me the best opportunity. Right? So I look at it, and if it's in a position where it's bottled up and there's no openings there, I'm going to start scanning the other stocks. I'm looking for these other opportunities. Just like the quarterback scans for open receivers, looking for something to throw it to. If I have an opening, then I'm going to go for it. But guess what happens sometimes? Sometimes the quarterback gets hell-bent on throwing the pass to somebody, and he throws it into coverage. Sometimes it works out. Sometimes it doesn't. Just like us, sometimes we jump in a trade because we just wanted this trade so bad, but it's too much around it, too much support and resistance, and the trade doesn't work out. Sometimes we lose. We get picked off. And sometimes we hit a check down trade. This may not be our number one trade. This may not have the biggest window, but it's an acceptable window. It's going to give us a first down. And that stop does some good individual moves, and actually it may run a touchdown. You don't know. So what I do when I'm coming in the market, I am scanning the market, looking at what's it offering today. What does it look like it's going to offer up today? Is it going to be a good day for my opening range trades? And if not, then I'm going to not call that play. I'm not going to do it. I may do the trend continuation. I'll let the market open and then get the trend continuation. But I'm going to survey the field. All right. And I'm going to try to find the stop that's going to give me the best opportunity. So looking at this, and I did all that so that you can understand, or hopefully I didn't confuse you, that you can understand what I'm looking at on these stocks. So this setup, opening range breakout. Here's an opening range high. Look at this candle. A really nice candle for opening range, but what do you see? 30 cents away is a daily level. Another 20 cents away is the 100 period. So all of this stuff is in the way. I can't take this trade until we get over this. So this is when we looked at this is what I told you guys. A couple of you did catch this. A couple of you got in early. You threw in the coverage, and it just happened to work out for you. But look at the trade here. From about 14 all the way up, you got almost a point to the 200. You got about 80 cents to this daily level here. So this is a first down. I know we were talking base hits earlier. I'm flipping it. We're going to football here. We're still in football season. Baseball season's over. So the first down. And you're ready to come out and run another play later on in the day. But the thing is, you needed to respect this. If you didn't and you got lucky, hey, you got lucky, but recognize that. Recognize that you got lucky to get the ball in there. You threw a dart and you made the move. If you scrambled and waited and threw the ball here, when he got open, he broke free, you got a really easy trade here, stress-free. So that was OMER. Now, I know this one didn't have a whole lot of volume. A lot of these stocks didn't have a lot of volume, but we got over, 75 to 100,000 shares. I'm willing to work it. But we didn't have to trade this. We traded another stock, but this was on the watch. Here's another one. This one, terrible volume right off the bat. There's no volume in this. Even though it made these, killer moves here, there's no volume in it. Too much up in here. Once we got free, this was probably our slow tight end that just probably couldn't get anywhere. But it happened to rumble down. And if you did roll the dice and take this, it actually worked out for you. But what I want to point out, the areas that you need to not enter. I mean, you can enter and it may work. You don't know that. But too often, these get caught up and they don't work, or they chop you out before they end up working. And things will be a lot more stress-free if you waited until it got in the clear and you had a clear pass at it. The last one, UAA. You can see this one. This one really didn't do much until later on. Nice trend continuation later in the day. This put in the high and the low here. It tried to dip below here, but there's no entry here. There's no opening range breakdown entry here, because look how close this level is. Look how close the pre-market low is. So no entry here. And if you roll the dice and took it, you got stopped out. Okay, same thing up here. No entry here. The daily level, all of this is just too close. It's not clean. You could easily get picked off, lose some money. So the ideal thing, wait for this thing to develop. It's a slow developing play. And it actually worked itself under this level. And you could have picked up a pretty decent move later in the day. You're not going to get the big, $1, $1.50, $2 moves out of these small stocks later in the day. 50 to 75 cents is an awesome move on these. You can put some decent size on it. You can see the volatility is not real bad. It's not going to jump up and stop you out or anything like that. Really nice, smooth move. But the key is, don't throw into a coverage. Wait till you get a clean opening. Because if you throw into coverage, you're probably going to get picked off and you're going to end up losing money. Moral of the story. All right, so Roku. This was my main watch. And it popped up late. I wasn't feeling it today. I did not like these lower price stocks because they don't really move much. And they always have a ton of moving averages and all of that stuff around it. And it would always need to work itself into a nice window. But this Roku, if it went red on the day, once it got red, we're rolling. Okay, we're on point. So here's the opening range low. Here's the high. Never did go back up. Opening range low. I could not take it here because I be throwing in the double coverage here. I've got the 200. I've got the yesterday's close. I've got the green to red line. So I couldn't do this. I couldn't throw in a double coverage. So I waited, and I probably should have waited till this candle open and probably buy it closer. But I got in. I just felt this was going to sell off. It did trigger. I wish I had gotten in closer to this level, but, that's fine. Still an acceptable entry. And I'm looking for this thing, and I'm just hitting targets, taking targets out. I mean, I wish I had taken 500 shares of this, but I wasn't comfortable with 500 shares on this stock. 300 was perfect, and so we just started taking targets out. My final target was 1410, but because this thing was selling so hard, I just decided to hold off and see if we got this 139.50 level. And sure enough, We got it. We got the meat of this move. We got a little more than the meat of this move. So this is all one trade here, 300 shares. I didn't add up how much we made on this. I'm thinking, see, let me see. Get my calculator here. This was over a $600 trade on 300 shares. And that's very doable in a smaller account. Even if you had 200 shares, you could catch a lot of this move. But really got this. And so we started to bounce. The RSI when we got here was at like 4. And we were bouncing off of a level. So I felt comfortable taking the reversal. And I was going to take 2/3 of it off here at the 9. And if it pulled back, I would have taken the rest off at break even and then flip it back short, once we got back under this level here. But it didn't make it to the 9. It turned around and stopped me out. And then I turned around and flipped it short under when it made a new low here. I got it short. Got a huge move down through 138. Hit my first target. And the next candle reversed, stopping me out. Back at break even. So we did pick up a couple more bucks on this. Maybe $130, $140 on that move. And then disaster almost struck because we're bouncing. And instead of me waiting for this to establish over the 9 here, I'm kind of rushing this thing. And I jumped in. And I got in, it went up about 10 cents. And bam, the damn thing started selling off. But it never did take me out. My stop on this was just under the low of this candle here. If it had made a lower low, I was done. But it didn't. It kind of held up. We made it up to the 20. But at that point, it's not enough to take profit here. Not enough. So this pull back, again, my stop is still here. Nothing has changed. We bounce, we make a higher low. I'm feeling pretty good at that point, and we hit the first target. And then we pull back, and I get stopped out at break even. So we ended up, pretty good. So at that point, I think we were at, where's the thing? Oh, there it is. 727.63. So that, we did pretty good. I mean, this is only trading 300 shares throughout this scaling out. Had a stop, one stop, and then a couple of, first down moves here. Couldn't get loose. But I do have a position. I did get back in. You could tell this is bullish. Look at the trend. So I'm looking for this to continue up. Looking for the 100. We rejected here, but didn't make a lower low. Still in play. And we got this strong move up. I have a target right here, just over 1410, which was the level. You can see it just did not get there. Maybe I should have had it at 142. But right now, I'm kind of hanging on to it. I'm waiting to see if this thing gets a push. A lot of times, late in the day, around 5:30, 6 o'clock, this thing will get a bump up. And, it might make it up this far. It might make it to the 200. Who knows? But I'm still waiting on it. I'm thinking, and based on what I see, I believe this is going to gap up I believe this is going to gap up overnight. I think it's going to run up in the earnings, but that's just my educated guess. Am I willing to roll the dice on it? Probably not. I like to close stuff out late. And being in speed trader, I can hold this until 8 o'clock, 7, 8. I can't remember now. I think it's 8 o'clock. But we'll see. And we'll update you on that tomorrow. But today we got pretty good trade locked in. This is exactly what I like to do. I like to sit in one trade. If I could get 2 trades like this a week, I would be very, very happy. Very happy. And then other little trades spread out throughout the week would be great. You know, and this is exactly what we look to do every day. Now remember, we're that quarterback, and we have to scan, and we can't throw in the coverage. You know, sometimes we think we're that good. Like, we get that confidence up, we nail a couple of good trades, and we think we can thread that needle, and the first time we try it, we get picked off. We don't want to do that. I know some of these trades look good, and they do set up and they work, but don't let that fool you. It doesn't. We're looking for the setups that's going to give us the best opportunity consistently, not hit and miss. And we're looking for consistency. That's the number one thing. All right, guys, so that's going to do it for me today. Have a great night, a great evening, and we'll get back at this thing in the morning. We'll see what the market's going to give us.